So here we have my new project, which is the VN800. It's basically June, so the weather's pretty lovely, and I don't really want to be doing this project during the height of summer, but there are a few things I can do. There's a few things I've already started doing. One was that these mirrors were absolutely awful. The original ones were plastic with some skeleton hand on it, so they've been changed. The grips were the original Kawasaki's, and they were not very nice. They had like a plastic end on here. They were pretty grim, to be honest. I have ordered new bars, so these chrome bars are okay. They're the original Kawasaki bars, but I've ordered some black ones to come in. The black ones basically will look better, but also I just don't like the way these turn in, and they're actually not that great for my wrist. It causes my wrist to bend whilst I'm riding, so they're going to be slightly sort of straighter bars. What I want to do at the moment though is basically tackle this. This is the original seat, so it's a pretty nice seat, it's nice and comfortable, but I hate this big bulbous bit on the back. And so what I'm going to do today is basically trim this and see if I can sort this so we just end up with one seat there in the bit where you're meant to sit. So I'll see how that gets on. I haven't really seen this on YouTube. I've searched for it. Nobody seems to have tried to have adapted the original seat. They've bought these other things that you put on a spring, or completely made a whole new seat, completely covered it. I'm going to see if I can sort this original seat out, and we'll see how we get on. Right, so here we are. This is the seat, this is the back of the seat. Now, just to show you what I propose to do, as you can see, this is the bit that I quite like. It's a nice comfortable seat, it's not too thick, it sits well obviously with the contour of the actual bike in the frame, and this is the bit I hate. If only Kawasaki had made these as two separate sections, then you could have just taken this off and left this bit. Now it would have been lovely and easy, and it would have looked pretty good. But unfortunately it's one complete unit, as you can see here. So what I'm going to have to do is try and cut this plastic through to where I think this part of the seat is, and then what I propose to do really is maybe somebody has sort of made the mistake before of just cutting straight through here. Then of course you're going to have this hole at the back of the seat. What I'm going to do is cut some of this material off here, take all the foam out, cut the plastic to the right part, or hopefully the right part, but then try and use some of this material to pull back over the bit where in effect there would have been a hole, and then obviously pull that back over here. Now what I might have to do obviously is kind of infill this bit with something to get the material to come over and pin it, staple it down, so hopefully from the back of the bike this will look nice and tight, and it won't look like there's kind of a hole at the back here or some kind of gap or something. But that's kind of what I propose to do. We'll see how it comes out. Right, so basically just to see where we are at this stage, what I've done is removed the staples all along here. Then that will allow me to pull this material over and then expose the foam here, and then basically get to the plastic shell, and you can basically kind of see that there, and then I can really kind of figure out how and where to cut through the base of the seat and where to cut it off. So basically I've taken all of this off. As I said, I've just pulled it over the back of the seat. This is the front section. I don't know if you can see that. That's the front section there. That's the rear section, and this is just the rear seat foam. Comes off as easy as that. It just sits on. The reason, if you're thinking why they have it in plastic, that is to try and prevent it from getting wet. But actually there's moisture all inside this. Once a seat gets wet underneath, it's pretty much going to stay there. So a bit of advice really, if you ever wash your bike and you jet wash it or chuck water over it, try and avoid washing the seat with a lot of water, because water will get in underneath. These staples here, I don't know if you can see that, these staples here, they're all rusty staples, because basically people get it wet underneath the seat, and all the staples that hold this in place get rusty, but worse than that is the moisture also sits in underneath in the foam, and it basically won't come out because it will just sit there and sweat and then just, you know, stay underneath all the plastic sheeting, etc. So this is what I'm talking about when I said I wanted to get to the plastic shell. This, as you can see, is the front part of the seat, and this is the material at the back part of the seat. And now I'm in a position where I can use something to cut this rear section off, so then we lose that rear section, lose the padding, and then hopefully I can then pull this material down once I've lost the plastic and pull that tight underneath, so we end up with a really nice looking main rider's seat. But we'll see how it finishes up as I go through. Okay. Right, so I haven't got this far. I've basically, I'll just turn this over and show you. I've got all this material off the back. This is the back of the rider's seat, and this is basically the plastic, how it looks without that section there. What I've done is I've made a cardboard infill. What I'm going to do with this is basically in here I'm going to put some glass fibre resin and matting, which will reinforce this cardboard. The cardboard is purely there basically as a pattern that I can reinforce with glass fibre matting. Then I can take some of the foam from the seat that was on the back, probably just this thin bit here, and then fix it here, pull the material over the top, and then pull it down. And then because I've reinforced it with the glass fibre, I should have something that I can then pull around and hopefully even staple pin into. What I might do is put some sort of rubber trim or even a bit of plastic in there with the glass fibre, because it's going to be hard to staple into glass fibre because that's very brittle, but I will be able to staple into something that's more like this kind of thing. So that'll be on the underside, so when you pull over with the material, then I can staple in on the underside of this, just like everything else is sort of stapled in here. It'll be stapled in on the back of that, and then obviously that seat will sit like that, and it will have that sort of back bit, but it will be more curved with the foam insert in there as well. We'll see how that turns out. So I've done the fiberglassing. As you can see, this is almost cured now. It's been about sort of half an hour or so. This is the cardboard in the middle, and then it's got the glass fibre here, which is sort of bonded into the plastic here, and then I've basically made a sandwich of cardboard. So you've got glass fibre, cardboard, and then another layer of cardboard with some glass fibre on the outside, and then I've used some of the foam, which was part of this foam off of the back seat. Always pays to obviously not throw things away and see what you can use first before you then decide you don't want something. This is the excess material off the back of the seat. And I'll just show you. It's a bit croaky because of the glass fibre fumes, but I am actually, you know, window open in the shed and in the garage, so not completely daft, but should ideally wear a mask. Anyway, so this is the foam I've stuck on the back of the seat. You probably get an idea now that that's the seat, that's the original seat. This would have been a big gaping hole at the back, but now with that there like that, you can see I've basically formed the back of the seat using the glass fibre and the cardboard, and this will now pull over and I'll be able to fix underneath. The wrinkles I'll get out, but I'll show you what that looks like when I come back to it. So here we are. I've finished the glass fibre matting onto here with the resin. I've used cardboard, like I say, as a former. Basically, an old cardboard box is absolutely brilliant when you're doing glass fibre and to make a pattern, because resin will stick nicely. It soaks into the cardboard and it gives you something that the glass fibre will then bond to, and then you obviously put more resin on. So what you can see there is obviously the glass fibre with resin in it. It's now pretty much hardened and bonded. That's a pretty rigid bit of board there now, and all it is, like I say, is a former for me to pull the material over and staple into. Sorry about the focusing there. Yeah, pull this over, and then it's something to basically get the material to staple into, and then from the outside that'll look pretty neat, hopefully. But we'll see what that finished article looks like tomorrow when I let that cure completely and harden, pull the material over, try and get any creases out, and then we'll see how it looks like on the bike. The seat, obviously this is the original seat, as you've seen in the other previous video of the seat change. That's the original seat that's been cut. Still may change that seat. I love the comfort of the seat. I'm just not overly keen on that hump there. It looks a bit too high. I'd rather it was sort of softer, more rounded off there.